Hi guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through my AFL Mid Pricers Forward Edition, and this will be the third video in the series of the rookies and mid prices for all the positions, and I'll be doing the ruckman I guess in one big video, as there's not many ruckmen and there's only about 4 or 5 options across both rookies and defenders. So before we get into it, remember to like and subscribe, as this channel is really growing well, and hopefully we can get some more subscribers up and push it out to more people and grow the little community that we have going at the moment. So now if I go onto this screen, we have here, we've got the players, and then we'll go through the players and we'll talk about them, and you'll see, I guess, my opinions on them. So first up, we've got Nat Fyfe, and if we look here, Nat Fyfe isn't really an option, especially because he plays key forward, and if you actually look at his stats, he only got 82 points in the 82 fantasy points in the practice match. And that included 3 goals too. So that's 20 points from just scoring shots. And he's not going to do that consistently. That would put an output of like a key forward that's going to win the Coleman almost. So he's not going to obviously do that very consistently. So take that away and he's going to average like 70 or so, probably. And that's around his pricing, I believe. And you also have to consider that he only got 15 touches and 6 marks. So it's not like he had a lot of the ball like he used to have a lot of the ball. So it's a big red flag for me, and I would definitely suggest not to go for him. So the next up is Ben Cunnington, and he is priced at 668k. So if you wanted to get him, he isn't really a premium, but he isn't really a mid-pricer. He's sort of that in-between sort of range. I guess he is on the high end of mid-pricer, so you could consider him, I guess, a mid-pricer, but I think he's going to underwhelm compared to what other people are putting him at. I think he goes low 80s, which is around the same that Flanders goes. Maybe Flanders goes a little bit lower, but Flanders starts 20 points less than him, or 18 or so points less than him, so 5 points gap. Flanders is making up 10 to 15 points there. So that's why I've gone with Flanders, and also I think using the 160k I get from Cunnington and being able to basically get better rookies is a much better way of going forward than trying to, I guess, fit in Cunnington and go really, really big on the forward line. I am going big on the forward line, but I'm not going too big, and I think Cunnington's one of the guys that's probably unlucky to miss out, but I'm willing to take more of a risk on Flanders at 4.1% than Cunnington at only like 2. So next up is Bolton. Where is he? Here. Now Bolton, I don't think there's any value with Bolton now, considering that he plays in the restricting Richmond system to start, as well as the fact that there's the introduction of Taranto and Hopper, and only Cochin's moving out of the midfield, so that's a 2-for-1, so someone has to move out of the midfield, and I think Bolton's midfield minutes, if there were any, just get reduced here, and I don't think he plays as much in the midfield, and I think if he's playing basically as a small forward, that average isn't even going to hold, and I think it might even go down, as he's not playing a fantasy-friendly role. Jaden Stevenson is the next guy, as all these guys are not interesting. I looked at Will Snelling, but I don't think he'll do anything particularly well. So where is Jaden Stevenson? He's probably far down this list. Have I missed him? Where is he? Here he is. So Jaden Stevenson is the last guy we got to talk about here, and I think he's just too injury prone, to be honest, and his role changes a lot on a dime with the how Aaron Hall is, and I just can't see him being a good option, as he has a huge tendency to drop 40s, which will all but end any price increases, as well as the fact that he does also have the chance of going forward, because we did see him in the back line where he averaged the 89 in the last 3 and 87 in the last 5. But if he's put in the forward line with the with Zeeble going down back and Hall staying down back, then I can't see an option, and he just doesn't have a secured role in the team at the moment for me to be able to pick him. So next up, we go to the 500 to 599k region. We go, the first guy I'm actually going to talk about is Sparrow. And Tom Sparrow I don't necessarily have as much information on Sparrow, except that I'm pretty sure I've heard that he's actually added some size in the off-season, and maybe he could be that 5th rotation in the midfield for Melbourne. So it's probably not this year, or just due to his age bracket and the age bracket of Petrarca and Oliver. So we'd probably have to wait for Viney to move on for him to be in that actual pure mid rotation. But I think he could hold his value, maybe go up a little bit, but it won't be nothing fancy friendly, I don't think, at the moment. So yeah, we have such little information on him. We'd probably have to see how he goes in the first couple rounds if we were to try and jump on him. The next guy that we should talk about is Horne-Francis, and like I said with Cunnington, I have a feeling that Horne-Francis will be the guy this year that doesn't do that well as people expect, and his breakout year comes next year. And thus, that's one of the reasons why I think I'm not going to end up selecting him. But he could be a good choice, as he will go up in average, probably to, I think, 70. But I don't think he'll do the go up in average enough to reach potentially 80, 85 that I think some other people in the forward line could do. And also, I don't want to go too heavily on like the same team as everyone else, because he's at 14%. I do need some players of difference that won't necessarily ruin my season. But if Flanders does hit in the first couple rounds, he gets up to 700k pretty quickly, then I can easily move him on and really move on into the likes of Cogs, as getting Cogs in there, or a Dylan Moore or someone like that as well, to beef up that the forward line. So the next guy that I want to talk about is Jack Zeeble. Zeeble could be an option if he goes into the defence this year, which is what has been touted, I guess. So let me move that. So then that basically makes Stevenson even more of a no-go, if it was even a go at this point. And I just think Zeeble's probably a little bit too injury-prone. And also, I just don't know whether, because I'm pretty sure it was confirmed that he was going to be in defence, but I'm not 100% sure, as he did play some games forward last year. So if he is playing in defence, that 60 average should go up, but it's a no-go just because he has injury concerns, and I think there's better players around that price range. Next guy is Rankin, wherever he is. There he is. Rankin could be an option, but I don't think there is an option there, just because I don't think he gets the right split that we need from him. We kind of need a 45-55 mid-time split, and I don't think he gets it. I think he gets like 30-25% in the mids. So that's just not good value there. And I think he puts up similar numbers to Tom Papley. So the highest I see him rising to is like 70 or so, which is pretty good rise. But if that's his max out at 70, and I think Flanders probably has a max at like 80, I think Flanders is about 10 points better off. And he also is 20k cheaper also. So I just think that Rankin isn't the option here when you have Flanders there. Especially because you got to look at the midfield of Adelaide, and you see Rory Laird, And you also see the likes of Sam Berry and some other guys in there. I think Sloane's coming back, so less midfield minutes Rankin can't get as much midfield minutes, especially because Laird, I think, has 85% CBAs, so that's already only 215% less left. Then you got Sam Berry, who I expect to be in the 70s, Roy Sloane in the 60s. So that's already taking it down to like only 80% CBAs left. And then you've got some other guys in the rotation that's got to go in before him. So he's only going to get maybe 20 or 30%. Oh my, I've done it again. If I do that, there we go. So then obviously Flanders is in that price bracket. If we go down here, he's at 508k. And I'll talk about why he's a good option when in my team reveal, which will be a 3.0 probably coming out Wednesday. And then that, unless I change it, unless he comes out before then, but if that does happen, I'll mention it in the video and I'll go through the options there. But I don't think much of my main structure is going to change now. It will just be rookies. So in the next bracket, we have the last bracket, 499 to 500k. We start off with Tom Powell, and I don't think we have enough info to suggest he will go big, and probably this will end up being a big miss from me in saying that I don't want to go for him. But you win some, you lose some, and I'm happy to go without Powell, as he's 1.4% owned and Flanders is 4% owned. So I almost countered this with Horn Francis in saying that I wanted some player difference, but I think to limit the risk of it ruining my season, I'd rather a player difference with 4% or 4.1% compared to a 1.4, as if a 1.4 goes absolute pear-shape, it's a lot worse than a guy going 4%. And I think if Flanders can have a good round one, we could see that ownership fly up to 6 or 7%. And then all I need is just one good round from him. And then it's almost like I've gotten in the money. Plus also he becomes less and less of a risk. So next up in the players to talk about is Tanner Bruin. And this one, there's a lot to go off. Where is he? He's 470 odd. So Tanner Bruin is a guy that I do think he's a good option. I just think that there's a better option in Flanders, and Flanders is just 30k more expensive. So, and I have a feeling there's about 10-15 points on max average and probably predicted average between Flanders and Tanner Bruin. I think Flanders has a max score of 100 or so, and Bruin probably only has a max score of 85, and therefore I think Flanders is just better because that 15-point gap would be around 130k or so, and there's only a gap of 30k. And I do think if we look here, they've got Collingwood round one, and also you got to think with Geelong, because in Tanner Bruin's practice game, he ran the midfield a lot. And also, they're going to have Bowes and Duncan back. So surely someone comes into that midfield rotation, lowering Tanner Bruin's rotation. And I think Tanner Bruin might even be on the interchange or out of the side just due to that. So I think you need to look into that. And even though Tanner Bruin has that more inside role in the practice match compared to Flanders, who is more wing, I do think Flanders would be a better option, because I think Bruin will turn into more of a small forward, or even just out to the same role as Flanders on the wing when all the inclusions come in. And I think Flanders has much better upside on the wing, as he has a lot better marking potential and just gathering disposals. So I think the last guy really to talk about here is Toby McLean, and he's down the bottom here. And yeah, he's now owned by 14.85%, and I just don't like how he can literally ghost in a game against a bottom three side and only get 54. which is about 80k above his price. So, and also you got to think that Baker came on and absolutely outplayed McLean with the same time on ground percentage. So this means that I probably think that Toby McLean will get in the side as a small forward wingman on baller, but he'll be the fifth or sixth. He was the fifth or sixth best midfielder on the day against a bottom side. So I just believe that there's a better option there. And he's probably like fourth off the rank now in terms of the forwards in that just like Sam Flanders type role. So that's all the players. So if you have differing opinions to me, which you probably will, comment your thoughts and your opinions in the comment section, and I'll hopefully be able to get back to you. And that's all of the mid prices done now, and we'll get to the rookies in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and there'll be a Ruckman video come out on one of those days as well to help get those out before the season starts. And remember to like and subscribe, and there'll be other videos coming out in the future. Thanks, guys. Bye.